Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pimlico Racecourse today at the races. Naomi Tucker alongside Keith Fustel. What a gorgeous day again. It's supposed to be a scorcher, though, isn't it? It's supposed to be warm.
It's supposed to get up, I know, the next couple days in the 90s, maybe mid-90s. So this might be the best day to be outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's chat about this Rainbow Pick 6 carryover because, yesterday we did have two live tickets for this pot. $1,311 on offer will start in race number 2 today. We have 7 races on card. But let's talk about that last race yesterday, Keith, really quickly. We had an aperitivo for Damon Delodo, Vico, Horatio Caramanos, and supporting actor who was one of the live single tickets.
Yes.
Sheldon Russell, aperitivo. Sheldon was trying.
Oh, I mean, he was riding, just like a wild man trying to get that horse up in just a brutal, brutal beat. I don't think we want to show the rerun. No. I mean, I can't even imagine the pain that bettor is feeling right now.
Gutted.
Yeah.
Gutted for that single ticket holder. I don't want to know what would have gone through his or her mind when they hit the wire. Oof, I stuck around just to watch it because that would have been a life-changing sum. But here we are again. We get the chance to go again. Let's hope they are going to be that lucky once more if they'll be playing today.
We talked about it yesterday. I kind of thought there was going to be some odd payouts, some odd horses win later in that card, and it came to fruition. And when you're thinking about what we have to offer, and you just kind of looked at the price, you said, no, there's no way there's going to be somebody alive, and there were two. That's just nuts. That's why you don't sleep on the bet. You've got to jump in and play.
That's why you have to be involved to make it happen. Let's look at the track conditions. As we'll talk about in a second, we are still off the turf this weekend with maintenance going on, but the dirt track is blistering fast.
Yes, it is. 82 degrees, as you say, it's going to heat up a little bit more. A little bit of a breeze going right now, if you can make that, almost 6 miles per hour. But, still, you know what? It's not rainy. The sun is out. I'll take it. I like it.
I like it as well. Let's get going with race number 1. Start of the early pick 5. 12% industry low takeout as usual. Race for the 2-year-olds here. 5 furlong the distance. For the ladies, I always look forward to these 2-year-old races. And normally we get a couple of firsts, but some in here have already got a race or even 2 under their belt. Now, I looked at this race again this morning. On my tick sheet, I went with Capra Chica on top and then Insane Sister underneath. Look back at that first ever 2-year-old race of the entire season we had, which was Chica Rabiosa's race. Insane Sister came out of that. Cabra Chica came out of that. And then I looked at how Insane Sister didn't get away. She hopped upwards.
Slight hop.
On the back foot from the get-go. And I thought, you know what, at 5-1, should be a little bit more fun to play than the favorite.
And that's why I landed there. And she was down inside. Looked like she was a little bit green through the stretch. And I think that break, she was on almost even terms, right, with Cabra Chica mid-turn. And I think she had a more uncomfortable trip. I'll give her a slight edge because, Cabra Chica is going to be, I would think, right around 1-2. That's not a kind of value I want. I want 4 or 5-1 with Insane Sister.
And
all my sisters are pretty sane. I've got 3 of them. But,
I was about to question your rationale behind the name here, but and she get Charlie Marquez aboard too.
Yes, a little bit of musical riders here. I mean, Civil Unrest was going to be Gomez. I think Insane Sister here, second time out. You're going to see with a clear break, really take it to this favorite.
Yeah, no, I really like Insane Sister. The more I look at it based on that value that hopefully you're going to see at the windows. Tanka Tough, first-time starter on the rail. Now, it's hard to go with a firster on the rail unless you really, really like them because they tend to have the field come over on them if they don't break well. Took 11 starts to get a win on board, so that's not ideal. None of the 2 siblings won first out. Actually, one of them still a maiden. The other one took about 8 starts to get the win on board. So perhaps pedigree-wise, not as enticing, but the work tab looks okay.
Yeah, and she hasn't proven that she can't show a little bit of talent. Right now, it's got a good work there. A bullet work June the 4th over
Yep.
this racetrack. You go deeper in the family. The second dam was Two Fox. Well, she's the mother of Ben's Cat, and some other horses that
Good
could run a
digging
little
there.
bit. Yeah, so Courtney Young hasn't run a lot of 2-year-old firsts. I think is over 7 lifetimes, so you can't really give a big judge on that. But is the new face here, Tonka Tough. We'll tab the toe. I kind of lined her at 9-2 just based on those works. They're encouraging at least.
Yeah, no, I wanted to go with the new face in here as
Okay.
well. Race number 2, plenty going on there.
Yeah.
We have a rainbow pick 6, but let's start with Keith's early pick 4 ticket, also starting in race 2. How do you see it? And are we going to win some money today, Keith?
We're going to try. $18 ticket will get you started 3 deep with the 3, 4, and 5 in race 2. Race 3, just the 1 and the 4. I like Irishman a lot today. I think that one's going to bounce back here for Hammy Smith. Race 4 with the 1, 3, and 5. And wrap it up. 2 deep in race 5 with the 2 and the 3. Zen Pie, Just Wave and Smile. Maybe Dale Capuano has that race surrounded. $18. And that race 2 starts the early pick 4. It also starts something else.
And starts the rainbow pick 6, that 1.3 million carryover. Well, you got to play your tickets starting in race 2 with the sequence coming up with some fun horses, I think, but also highlighted, of course, by the return of Harper's First Ride in race number 6, who is quite conveniently my single in there. Now,
Okay.
is he vulnerable? Possible. He's coming off a little bit of a layoff, but he's run well off a layoff. But let's have a quick look at how else I play it. 1, 3, 5 in this first leg here in race number 2. Race number 3, I go 2 deep using the 1 and the 4 in their ink, as well as Irishman back on a fast track in here. And then in race number 4, I use the 1, the 2, and the 5. You see, this is quite amusing. I have the 1 in every single selection. Doesn't mean I have the 1 on top in every race, mind you, but I have included the rail horse everywhere by the looks of it. The 2 Dashing Circles, my top selection in that maiden special weight, but I think that's a pretty open affair. I know you like Rippolino. I left him out, so I'm hoping you're
Okay.
wrong and I'm right.
All right.
Race number 5, I used the 3, the 2, and the 1, the 3 being my top selection. Just Wave and Smile. 2 in there for Dale Capuano. I like Senpai. I respect him. Just Wave and Smile gets the stable main rider on board, the Jorge Ruiz, so I just had to give a nod to him there. Race number 6, the aforementioned Harper's First Ride. Now back in the Claudio Gonzalez stable and back to a track which he marked with his greatest victory in his entire career, the Grade 3 Pimlico Special in 2020, besting a tough Owendale that day. So I have high hopes for him coming back. Not the easiest of field, not a big field, 5 horses in that race, but he's the class of the class there. Race number 7, hopefully get my price play home. 156, my price play, the number 5, Lucian, who comes in here for Kieran McGee. He wasn't away as fast as usual at Delaware last time out. Third start after a break. I take my chances. He's run figures that could best Salmon Sai if he doesn't run to that top figure. He has 64.69. I think he could topple him. $32.40 as we get back to race number 2 to continue with the quest for winners here. Let's talk about the number 4, Car Lady, who you have in your exacta. I used her underneath. We have a video spotlight on her 2 starts ago at Pimlico. Mile and 16 the distance. We watched the start a couple of times there because she was badly hampered there.
Yeah, and she did herself, got herself in a little trouble there too. When you break a bit slowly, most of the time, horses aren't going to come out in a perfect line. So she came away a beat slow. Inside comes out, outside comes in. Next thing you know, you're sandwiched and you're 15, 18 lengths off the pace. She does not have a lot of speed anyhow, but I like the way she finishes up here from the top of the stretch home. She's gonna gain quite a bit, maybe 5, 6 lengths from this 3/16 pole. Not going to be able to get to Fairy Wish, but she's going to come in the picture very light there with a brush. And Jose Corrales here, this kind of move. They got her back on the turf last time. They were trying to get her on the turf. Yeah, it just was no good. Didn't fire at all. So back to, I think, her best surface. And Corrales does good work turf to dirt. It's 5 for 15 and 9 for 15 in the money. Turf to dirt routes even. How about that? $3.60. And there is a little bit of flow. It's a shorter field, but you've got a couple of horses I think are pretty much one-dimensional. So they're going to have to make some kind of effort to get clear, to do their best work, that being the 1 Champagne Toast, Double Fireball, and Mitt Mazel. They all want to be forward. So I think things set up nicely for Car Lady and even Bethabra, who's going to be my top selection. I think she's going very well now for Hammy. 4th back of a layoff. She's raced into shape. She has a little more tactical speed then Carly to see if she can hold her off through the final furlong.
I respect her as well, but I'm going with quite the stat on Claudio Gonzalez. When he puts the blinkers on, 40% winner. Small sample, that is, only 5 runners, but in general, when he applies that equipment, tends to do very well. And Mazel, yes, she has to find her form again from 3 starts, 4 starts ago, but a good work in between that last race. That was on the turf. She just kind of got tired. They're back on the main track here, and she drops in level in comparison to her dirt tries. Was campaigning that claiming 40, first level optional claimer, now in the starter allowance 32. I'm taking my chances with her. If she shows us what she's been showing in her prior stats, I'll take her. I use the number 1 underneath, Champagne Toast. You're right, she is a speedster, but I don't think she's an out-and-out need lead type, and she stumbled in her last start on the turf, and she was able to take them coast to coast at Keeneland 2 starts back. We know that Keeneland is not the easiest track to get the wins on board. That was a claiming 30 level. Look, she got an easy lead. She went slow that early section. Not going to happen today, but she showed capable of winning from far out as well when breaking her maiden at Laurel Park. So that gives her options. Well, actually gives Sheldon options here. And Sheldon has been returning to the winner's circle like we're used to him doing. I think he had a smaller dry spell, and now back to his best again. So I like Sheldon aboard in here as we move on to race number 3, maiden claiming 40,000 and the start of the late pick 5, for which we have a carryover and a good one too. $10,000 to get you started on that late pick 5 sequence. 12% takeout as expected of the Maryland Jockey Club, providing value for the betters. Mauen 16 the distance here for maidens 3, 4 and 5 years old. And Keith, you landed on the number 4 in here, but let's talk about the number 1 first, because we have a video spotlight. He's going to take a fair bit of money. The number 1, Ink by Bourbon Courage. Let's look at his starts last time out here, where he drops himself just a little bit at the start, hence ends up getting caught wide into that first turn.
Yeah, it just gets caught wide, a little bit of a bobble into the outside, but we're also going to be able to see Irishman in here as well. So let's focus right now on Ink, though. Ink, after that little stumble, recovered, rode the wave of the racetrack. He wanted to be high and wide on the 29th on this off track. Ink goes up, and I thought maybe this guy was maybe a one-run sprinter, but he was dead game, a little weaving around through the stretch. Sebastian, who had that edge and experience going long again over him. But down inside the whole way, you see the one horse that afternoon was Irishman. He was just spinning his wheels. This was the first race of the day, so maybe the jocks didn't quite know that, hey, the outside was the place to be. Further on in the day, after about 3 races, you knew you wanted to be off that rail. Irishman was a victim of a dead rail. I think he's going to bounce back today and turn the tables on a 4-1-2-5 for me. Steady Eddie's interesting. You've got this one in the mix with the Lasix.
I put him in just in between, but then on my pick 6, I used the 1 and the 4 because I think they're the horses to beat in this spot. But I like Steady Eddie because I'm just taking a bit of a shot here with a speed horse and long layoff, 3-year-old debut with the Lasix go on. That last race didn't ever get a chance to run in the first place, and he's done well over this distance 2 starts back. Yes, has to find something in terms of figures, but the natural progression from 2-year-old to 3-year-old with a fair few months, a couple of works coming into this, I don't mind just taking a chance here with a horse that you quoted on the morning line 12-1. I like it.
Agreed. I think he might slip through the cracks a little bit. Look at his lines: 54, 90, 26, 30. He's never taken play. You see the buyer of Ink last time out, that 57. It's huge compared to Steady.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get 8, 10, 12-1 on this guy. But the Lasix goes on. He's going to have some speed. His best work, I think, is going to be done on the front end. If he clears and relaxes, no doubt. Wouldn't surprise me if he takes the field a long way in here.
I agree with you there. Maiden special weight on tap for race number 4, 6 furlong the distance there. And your top selection, Keith. I mean, I gave him some credential underneath. I'm not going to lie. I'm not his biggest fan, just on what I've seen thus far from him. Does seem to get back to his better distance now, the 6 furlong. I just think he's a touch better there. But let's look back at a replay you selected 5th of March in 2021. And look how far back he is. He wasn't even in view
Yeah.
until like the last half furlong when you look back on this stretch run.
Yeah, they were rocking and rolling pretty good on the front end that day. 22 and 2, 46 and 1. Right, this is where Exculpatory got a really good ride. Was able to split horses, but Rippolino from way back is going to close quite a bit of ground through the final furlong. Gets beat a length and 3/4. There's no Exculpatory in this race. I hope he doesn't run like my pick yesterday in the last Mo American, who was back and just got further back. But Rippolino, I think, has just run against the right kind. He's going to be able to spy the speed up front. He's going to be well back probably mid-turn. But he just might grind out a victory against these horses because I think, at the 6, Dashing Circles, Dialing Dixie, they kind of want to be up. They might get themselves in a little bit of a battle. Baltimore's probably going to get the jump on Rippolino, but maybe this, this company that he's faced, I think, and the freshening and encouraging work the last couple, maybe to jump up. He might not quite get there, but I think he's going to make an impact late.
We always like your price plays, 5 to 1 morning line. Yeah, I go with Dashing Circles. He's drawn low. We'll have to use what he's got to hold off Dialing Dixie's pressure from the outside. Maybe Xavier's going to have to do some race riding on him, but we know that the X-Men does not shy away of any of that. Baltimore, I like as well. Indeed, you're right. I like the fact that he comes off, second after a long live, was campaigned up at Woodbine prior second start for a high percentage barn in the Kieran McGee stable. I give some respect to the 5, Dialing Dixie, who I just mentioned in terms of the pace setup, and you do as well, because he didn't help himself last time. Bit of a tardy break up in the air, and then he was rushed to get to the front, battled, still held on. Now that I think is very encouraging for a first-time starter at the time. Yeah,
it was a little interesting too, seeing the placement at Maiden 25 off of those works, a homebred, and lo and behold, the Frocks dug in and claimed this horse. Maybe a little bit gamesmanship from way back, Taco Supreme days. You never know, right? So we'll see. Dialing Dixie, though, that was my concern. In for the tag first time out. He's going to bring speed to the table. He might go. The Frocks are rolling right along. But maybe things will set up for Rippolino. Baltimore did, the one horse for Kieran, really loomed. Made a nice move up to mid-stretch and just flatten late. Maybe he'll sustain a little bit today.
I like your comment on Dialing Dixie, that he was in for perhaps a bit of a lower price tag, and then the Frocks came in and snatched him up. Now, we do know it's tough sometimes to judge how good your first-time starter is in the mornings in comparison to what they might show in the afternoon. To just give some credential there to Damon Lodovico. It's unfortunate that they lost him when he ran such a tenacious race. So that's the name of the game, and we all know it. Now, talking about the Frocks, I'm still thinking about Baby Yoda, how clever it was, how they got him in the maiden 10 and nobody went in for him.
Yeah, and comes back and ran another big race the other day after breaking a little bit slow. He was game to the wire, so yeah.
Terrific race. As we'll take a break and we'll be back with the last couple of races on the card.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground on her inside. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome to Pimlico Racecourse. Naomi Tucker, Keith Fusel. Race number 5, 7 race card. Rainbow Pick 6 kicks off in race number 2. Race 5 here, starter optional claimer, 5 furlong the distance. Heavy-handed in here is trainer Dale Capuano. He's got the number 3, Just Wave and Smile. The number 2, Zenpai. Let's look at Just Wave and Smile, who absolutely thrashed a field last time out. Course and distance. Now, that was, however, on the off-going. That was his first time on the off-going. Did it move him up? Because it seems like he relished it.
He relished it. He was on the best part of the racetrack, and if you believe in the Tomlinson figure, some people like to look at that. He had a high rating right there as well. But 21 to 1. And this is a horse that showed a lot of talent, though, early in his career. Never really came back to it after those first 3 races, got the needed break, and he comes back with a vengeance. I think he can handle it off track. You're going to have certainly some speed with it. Sizzling Time, who's going to just run away and try to hide from this field. But, boy, just this horse is tactical enough. He might bring a little bit more speed. Maybe. I mean, they're very close, he and Zenpai. But you talked about the rider, right? Ruiz ends up here over Zenpai, who he won with 2 races back. So interesting little race. But these look like the 2 that you got to beat.
Yeah, to me as well. I mean, both of us use a successful cure underneath as well. First start of the year with good works leading up to his seasonal debut for this 6-year-old. Credentials that could best this field. However, is he going to need a race?
That's the key. 5/8 of a mile, right? That's short.
Sharp,
Yeah. I mean, he was the thing about him. He got really, really good. He's been off since November, but the works are, they are sharp. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's run the figures. You look at his buyers, 80, 84. He can bring that kind of number, even a high 70 into this 5/8. It's going to put him right there against this group.
And you think it's Sissing Time might return to form. I guess
Yeah.
I've kind of written him off a little bit
Sure.
as cheap speed. He's been flashing that, turn of foot from the gates up the front. Hasn't been able to see it out in his last two. When he won that first level optional claiming race, I thought, all right, we got something nice on our hands here. Hasn't been able to capitalize on that potential that we saw from him before. I'd love to get proven wrong by this horse today.
Well, this is like the last shot for him, right? You've kind of
A
seen
little
it the
bit,
last
yeah.
two. He hasn't been able to hold. We'll give him one more chance and see how far he can take him.
Absolutely. Race number 6, the return of Harper's first ride, mile 16, the distance here. 3 other than conditioned optional claimer. Of course, Harper's first ride. He has been campaigned with Robertino Diodoro for his last 3 starts. Now back in a very familiar environment. Claudio Gonzalez was the one that prepared him to the Grade 3 Pimlico Special Success. Angel Cruz has been aboard. It's good to see him back, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good to see him back. You wondered if he's going to make his way back here, and sure enough, he's back, and he's back with Claudio, and I'm sure he's given a little time, give a little break, and then the work's steadily leading up to this. The condition fits right like a glove. If you read the condition, go ahead and do it. Yeah, and it's a shorter field. He doesn't quite have the gate speed as a couple of these, but he'll be able to kind of just draft back, and I think he's going to try to make that circling move and wear everybody down. So Harper's first ride, if he's about 95%, I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I like Harper's first ride in that spot. Do we want to have a look at the Richard Small, the video that you selected? One of his tenacious performances. This came a couple of starts after that career highlight in the Pimlico Special. But what we don't see here is that he was actually much further off the pace even and really kind of had to make a move. But this is just with ease. He just glides up around them there.
Yeah, they were battling. Internals were pretty good. When we get 23, 46, 10, and 3, and just does the sweep, right? 4 wide, and just see you later. Goes by a good group of horses to widen the buyer of 100. I don't think he's going to need to run 100 today. But he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to run. I mean, Zoomer's no slouch. Tybalt, the other Claudio, he's a deeper closer. So you would think Harper's first ride has a little bit more tactical speed. Hockey Puck will be up front, but like I say, if he's close to right, I mean, I think he can just sit and rate and roll on by, get in the clear around the 3/8 pole and try to circle.
I made my selections thinking there might be a sharp pace setup here. Zoomer is good on the lead, working on the Dream, has been known to move forward. Hockey Puck can try and go for it as well. And if that happens, I'm thinking Tybalt is going to run into the exact. And hence I used him and Bullet Work coming in here. But you've got to respect the number 2 Zoomer, right? Is he going to try and run off with it?
Yeah, well, I tell you, he's going to have to work a little bit because working on a Dream, it looks like his only way to go and get a victory this afternoon, I mean, at a big price, is going to be sent. Yeah. He's pretty quick in his own right. Zoomer, to me, shows in the past he can sit just off of it if need be. So I don't think it's a do or die, for him to get that lead in the first quarter of a mile.
And the final race on the card, the nightcap race number 7, 5.5 furlong, claiming 10,000 to 8,000 non-winners at 2 lifetime. Both of us are trying to beat the heavy favorite in there, Sam Inside. Let's have a look at his last race, not final race, obviously he's running in here. Last race right here at Pimlico, which he got claimed out of. Donald Barr managed to get a hold of him. And this was his first start for the Brittany Russell barn. He'd come over from her old employer, Brad Cox. Not as convincing of a start, last of all, going into that turn.
No, hesitated at the break. You're going to see he's about 4 wide, turning for home, and steadily moves up. Can't quite get past Our Hoisted Mass. It was in good form at the time. He threw a little bit of a clunker in right the other day, I think. But anyhow, I mean, this race is good. Now, the thing that surprised me there was only 1 claim in for Sam and Cy that afternoon. I thought there would have been more on that drop. So you've got 1 claim back in for the level. Off of that 64 buyer, he's going to take a lot of play.
He will.
He holds form. Yeah. I'm just going to say there might be a little bit of regression in here. And Lucian, I don't know who was in that race at Delaware last time. I did not look at the chart. This horse was 33-1 coming off of a decent race for 16 here, and then went up there. That's just crazy. But Self-Awareness is a horse that's pretty quick, and he was close up to that one. Couldn't quite kick on, but he loomed a danger. I think he can sit a little further back off of this questionable speed and make a move into it. He brings back a mid-50 number. That might be good enough. And I think, maybe I have him lined a little high at 10. I'll take 6-1 on him today.
Yeah, I agree with you here. He drops from that claiming 16 to the claiming 10. Actually didn't get away as fast as usual at Delaware. So the rail horse came in on him. He kind of was forced back even further afterwards. Just nothing really went right for him that day. So I'm thinking today, if he gets, if he gets back to his sort of better starting ways, and he runs up to a number that he ran up 2 starts back, and Salmon Side just regresses a little bit here, then yeah, that's going to be a problem. Hi guys, we can't see you there with us on the screen. It's wonderful to have you here with us. Salmon Side, just a quick stat here on Donald Barr. Over the last 5 years, he's won from 10 first off the claim, which isn't very strong. Now they all run in the money though. 6 from 10 run in the money with a very low ROI. They tend to get well back. So another reason for me, and I guess for you too, to look elsewhere. So 5-6-1-7 for me, 5-6-1-2 from Keith Fustel. As we'll move on to lightning round. Let's have a look at a pair of first-time starters that made their debut yesterday. Nixon trains, Royal Appointment, Sparkle Plenty. You can see Sparkle Plenty just further to the back there. Royal Appointment not even in view.
Right.
Both of them in different ways, not the ideal setup.
No, it wasn't. Royal Appointment, I think, had the worst of it. A little bump in tight at the break, then moved up, had to wait around the turn. You see the 2 down towards the inside. Made a challenge, and then Sparkle Plenty had to wait a little bit around the turn, and then swung out and made a big late run to just miss, that being the daughter of Uncle Mo. Right, that really good mare that ran on the turf. But take nothing away from the first two, though, of Damon's. She's a Rolling Stone. Big effort.
That was a terrific effort in that
and she was gritty to the wire.
Absolutely.
I would have liked to have seen if Nixon's horse would have got right even and let that race continue into the clubhouse turn. She wasn't going to give up, it didn't look like.
No, Royal Appointment, you were right, didn't get away that strong, and then Sparkle Plenty ended up, having to go wide a little bit, and nothing was ideal, but it did show that, as we know, Justin Nixon gets them ready, they're professional, they come with a run, just things sometimes have to go someone's way, so that means write them down, guys. Royal Appointment and Sparkle Plenty next time out, worth a second look here. 4th of July coming up exactly 1 week from now. We have the Red, White, and Blue Festival Independence Day Stakes. 4 stakes worth $375,000 in purses, highlighted by the Concern Stakes for 3-year-olds going 6 furlong. And Keith, we were just looking as the entries came out. Big names in here. Mighty Mischief, the Grade 3 Chick Lang winner. Let's hope he comes.
Like to see that one. Yeah, absolutely. Noms were out yesterday or the day before. I glanced really quickly late last night at the PPs. We'll dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah, Hemp coming back. He ran 3rd in the Chick Lang. Hemp is in it as well for Anthony Ferrier. Love to see them come up. And of course, we have plenty of action in terms of the food offerings. We've got hot dogs, hamburgers, barbecue. Now, I can't have any of that, but it's still great for everyone that can't eat all the meat.
So what's your choice then?
Fries.
You'll go to fries.
I love fries.
I got to get my buddy
fries
out here.
all the way.
I got a buddy that's got a French fry truck. Anybody want to taste the best French fries around? My man Pigeon, all boy fries. You got to go get some one time. I'm telling you, we need him out here. He loves to play the horses. Puts a lot of money through the windows, but he can cook up a really good French fry.
Well, whoever is in charge of booking the food trucks, Tim Lucius, are we listening here?
Wow,
get you in here with the French fries.
I'm just telling you. And the fireworks, I guess we're not going to have any of this. Last night at about 10:30, I don't know, my neighbors down the way. It was 4th of July last night where I live, I can tell you.
In my neighborhood as well, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, they were
cranking.
blasting the fireworks. I mean, they look beautiful, but perhaps hold your horses until next week and then go all out. Let's talk quickly about the grass that you see behind. Not aeration has been ongoing. If we can get a shot of the turf, guys, that would be wonderful. The Pimlico turf, has been maintained maintained here. They're fertilizing it, they're aerating it. You can see it there. Actually, yesterday we saw the tractor go around with the pins.
The aerator,
aerated.
yes.
Yeah, help the roots to grow there, and just allows you to alleviate soil compaction as well.
Yes.
So we have a wonderful team here that's working round the clock. You see them working on the main track here, and very much looking forward to turf racing coming back.
Absolutely, we need it back. Definitely helps our handle. Our field sizes usually go up quite a bit. So yeah, hoping to get that turf course right. I mean, it's tough. We're just not used to running here this long. The turf course not used to taking that kind of. I don't want to use the word beating, but you know what? It took a lot. So I think it's going to be just fine here in about a week or so. They're doing a lot of work to it. So overseeding, the watering, everything like that. It's a whole process. Got to be a little bit patient, but hopefully with that it'll pay off.
Well, let's put that in perspective. Where they run on the turf frequently in Europe, in Australia, in Hong Kong, they only run 1 day a week.
That's right. Exactly.
We were running 3 days a week here on a turf course that normally gets about a month or less of action each year. Now, all of a sudden, we're running 3 days a week. That is very tricky to make sure that the turf stays in tip-top condition. Now, of course, we aren't running every single race on the turf, but it gets that action on a regular basis, and that is, very tough to maintain. That's also the reason that in Europe we have a very different structure of racing. It's 1 day a week, not even that sometimes. It really depends on sort of what you're doing. Whereas here we have those meets, which impacts both turf and dirt courses.
And that's why I guess over there too, you're more apt to see off of a real boggy ground than here. We need to preserve. We got to save the courses, so you can get away with it only 1 day a week. But guys are doing a good job. They're doing what they need to do. And let's get back on the turf next week.
Agree with you there. So that will do it for us today. Dave Rotman, voice of Maryland Racing, will be coming up next with scratches and changes for today. Best of luck, everyone.
All righty. Good luck.